live, but good afternoon to all of our ASTE community and anybody who watches today. Our 2026 conference may be over, but the learning is not stopping. My name is Melody McAllister, and as the director of ASTE, I'd like to welcome one of our ASTE featured speakers, John Corippo, educator, leader, keynote, co-author of EduProtocols and founding member of the EduProtocols community. John, if I get anything wrong, let me know, okay?
Melody, you can't do anything wrong. Stop it.
Well, I mean, if I left out something, because you really do a lot. But
it's all good.
But you and Jake from EduProtocols, you had amazing sessions during our ASTE conference. And one of our members, Rob, shared that he has been implementing what he learned from your guys' sessions, and his students are loving it. So if you are watching, we hope you'll stick around, ask some questions, get to know this dynamic educator, and leave with some gems to help you finish the year strong and start the next one ready to go. John, you are one of my most favorite people of all time. Personally, being around you is like being close to sunshine. I know I've said that to you before. I hope anyway.
People in Alaska need that.
Yes, especially now, right? But no burn. And it's so great to see you today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and then maybe your ASTE experience?
Yeah, so I'm going to start off with a zinger, you guys. I'm a consultant. Consultants are taking a beating on social media right now. But here's why I'm not a consultant. I've got 19 years in the classroom. I've taught as recently as 2021 during COVID with real human children. And since then, I've been in 1,000 classrooms. That doesn't just count presentations. So what I do differently when I consult with a district, and trust me, guys, I'm not trying to talk anybody to buy anything. I'm just giving a perspective. Ask your consultants to do the same thing. I go into the classroom and I take over. I run the classroom and I show the speed, the amount of feedback, the lesson design that gets kids excited about learning. And I'm going to tell you, Melody, very often when I'm in a classroom, I'll look over and a kid will be trying to make eye contact. You know how they look at you like, and I come over and I go, what's up? And they go, are you coming back tomorrow? And so even though I'm technically a consultant, what I really consider myself is like a global educator. Mm-hmm. I've done this in India. I've done it in Morocco. I've done it in Mexico City. I've done it in Rome. And kids everywhere are people of the internet nowadays. Like they get the dad jokes. They love the memes. They love the Pikachu. They love the Roblox, right? All those things work very nicely if you'll just give kids a chance to plug in. And so EduProtocols is the thing that I started doing in around the year 2000. Wow. And I've just been perfecting it. And now, so my first thing was I'm a consultant. Hopefully anybody that's watching or listening is like, okay, well, maybe this guy's kind of a cool consultant. Second thing is lesson design. And again, Melody, I know you're all over the internet like I am. We're seeing this over and over again. The kids won't listen. They won't listen. The kids won't do the work. The kids are off task, all those kinds of things. So what got me started in education was I used to be a Division I football coach at Fresno State as a grad assistant. And I learned a lot there about, a ton about feedback loops and rapid improvement. And just think about it this way as a teacher. Hi, Stacy Reese. If you're a teacher, sometimes we say we don't have enough time, but Melody, check this out. A D1 football coach has roughly 21 practices from the time that he sees that team to being on 6, 7. They've got about 21 practices. Hi, Brookie. They've got very few practices to go from this is not a team to I'm on ESPN, playing a highly skilled team. And so I've learned tricks of how to get systems up and running. And this is the paradox, running quickly without rushing. And one of the things that's really critical, and I love watching your son Whit on TikTok, kids love feedback. And I loved feedback when I was a kid in the 70s. This is not a new phenomenon. It was just impossible before. It was impossible. So nowadays, what happens is we can get in there and show kids how to get quick feedback. That gets them excited about learning. When kids are excited about learning, everything works better. Literally everything works better. So that's just a little background on me and EduProtocols.
I love it. And I meant to bring my book. It's at school with me. And so I'm sad that I didn't bring my book to showcase, but it doesn't matter because you just came out with a new EduProtocols book. Am I right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we just came out with, look, I've got one right here. Right here in my little cubicle. This is the new Designing EduProtocols book. And what I love about it is Mark Wallace gives tons and tons of real life examples of student work, like how it looks when we're done. And in his book, what he did was he designed 8 new protocols, and he takes you through the creation story. So like, here's what I needed. Here's the problem I needed to solve. And then he takes you through the creation of the whole thing from scratch. And so I think it's fantastic because it gives teachers the full process to see what's happening in this environment that we're in nowadays. He's showing them how to design a protocol to solve problems. So that book's got 8 new ones in it, but also like how to use fonts effectively and all kinds of things. So it's a really, really cool setup.
Okay, John, let's rewind it just a second. Okay, let's say that somebody doesn't live on the internet. They've never heard of EduProtocols before. So EduProtocols, and I love that your shirt says it, it's teach better. And what is the other? I'm sorry. Work less. Yes. And so
teach better means big results, like 20, 30, 40 points of growth. And then work less, and I got bad news for you guys. I got 19 years in the classroom. The job isn't going to be a hard job. It's going to be a hard job. But with good planning and good design, you're not doing the work at home. Right. We should be able to go home at the end of the day and relax, because teaching needs that, that energy while you're with the kids.
Right. And you need to go home and rest and recharge. And, so wonderful. So these protocols are things that you can do every day, even though the content is changing. And so that's why Rob, our ASTE member, was saying that he's been implementing it. His students love it. And I'm sure he's also felt really refreshed. But if your students love something, of course, we're going to do it over and over. So
everything's easier.
Right. You started this in 2000. You guys have several books out, and if you want to put any links, I can drop them out, John. But also, something that I really enjoy also about the EduProtocols community is that you do have a thriving community. And John, we were talking about you as a consultant, but in this community that you guys have on Facebook alone, I don't know if you have it anywhere else, but like there's educators all over the world in it, and you and like Kim and all of these people that are like Jake, like everybody that's head of this EduProtocols that has really been pushing it out, you guys talk to everyone in that community. And I just think that it makes it so much more effective, because you're not like this consultant that is like so elite that you can't be reached.
No, I'm here for the convo, and I'm relatively, like, my claim to fame is free lifetime support. So if you see me in a presentation and you say, this is really cool, but I'm not ready to do it in my classroom, teachers can email me on nights and weekends, and I'm always happy to jump in and join them and learn from them, and it's just fantastic. So in the back end chat, I put a link to the EduProtocols Plus site that has a free sampler. We've got a podcast and a bunch of free templates, like no-cost templates. And then the other link is to our Facebook community, we just crested 24,000 teachers in there. So it's really, really cool to see them going.
And, something I enjoy is that in the community, there's so many like-minded educators that are just trying to find, they want to change the system. The sad part of it is, though, that we're all in the system trying to change the system within our classroom. We're not making the same, the progress that we want to see.
Right.
And John, the funniest thing I remember about your April Fool's joke, like during the pandemic, you're like, "Hey, everybody, I'm making this school, and it's going to be like this school." And all of the, me included, we're like, "Hey, we want to work at this school. How do we get to
Everybody just rolled into there.
It's true. It's true. And
I think, sometimes the adults that are teaching, and looks like we might have some kids in the chat. I would love to hear their opinions. Sometimes the adults just don't understand the vibe. They're so busy being, for lack of a better term, too school oriented, that they don't understand the interpersonal piece of school, which is the most critical piece, right? And I tell kids, and think about it, if you're a teacher listening to this, I tell kids all the time on the first day of school, I tell them, guys, 20 years from now, I'm going to be at your wedding.
Mm-hmm.
You tell sixth graders, they lose their minds.
They do.
Guys, 15 years from now, you're going to call me and say, I'm graduated from college. Will you come and see it? I go, I'm going to treat you guys with the respect of a 20-year relationship, not treat you like you're just here for 180 days and then getting tossed. I'm going to take care of you. And trust me, I got plenty of friends my own age. I don't need more friends. But when you spend 180 days working with someone, there is a working relationship that develops. And I'm here for you guys if you need anything for the rest of your life. So here's what I'd like to do with our time, Melody.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to show the original protocol. And
Okay.
I'm going to show one of the newest protocols.
All right.
So I'm going to show you how to do this on paper, and then I'm going to show you how to use it with AI. And then after that, I want to talk a little bit when we wrap up for like our third part. I want to talk a little bit about pedagogy, because I think that is where the problem is coming in. So I'm going to share my screen here.
All right.
Here we go. So here's the first one I'm going to share, Melody. Can you see that okay? I'm checking my screen. Okay. I will take pictures like this that I find on the internet. Here's another good one. Look at this guy's jam. Look at where his hand is. He's got a full monkey puzzle going on his face. He's passed out. I didn't do it. It was the dog. Right? I just take these funny pictures. This one is hilarious. Look at this kid. They got a hold of the paint, and it did not go good.
I'm glad it wasn't their own species.
Yeah, it happens, but I don't do that one in class. So this is one of the most original of the protocols right here, and it's called 8 parts. And what I have the kids do is I'll show them a picture. Like, see, here's our guy right here, Melody, and you just be my student. What are some nouns in the picture? What are some nouns in the picture?
Boss.
Ooh, I like that.
Watermelon.
Okay.
There's a boy.
Boy, that works. You just did it.
Mm-hmm.
So now we go over here like this, and I go, okay, Melody, give me some adjectives that go with those nouns. Like what kind of boss?
Like a cool boss.
All right. And then what kind of watermelon? What's it like?
It's juicy.
Juicy is number 1 most popular. And then what kind of boy?
A cute or young, cute young boy.
Okay. All right. We'll go with young boy. So basically what I do is I can do this right on paper. Everything's cool. And I walk my class through this just like we did, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can imagine if I said, hey, let's do some verbs. Eating, chewing, spitting. And I can go, what do you mean spitting? And he goes, and one of the kids was like, well, they spit the seeds. Awesome. But what I've got, the nouns and the verbs next to each other, so there's relevance. What kind of boss? Cool boss. What kind of watermelon? Juicy watermelon. What kind of boy? Young boy. Oh my gosh, you guys, nouns and adjectives work together. Over here, I might put spitting, as in he's spitting the seeds. And then if I'm working with kids, there's a good chance one of the kids will say he is spittingly spitting the seeds. And I'll go, dude, that's not really a word, but I love where you're going with that. And so what I have the kids do is I guide them through this little template. And here's the shift, Melody. We're going to do all 8 parts of speech at once. Normally what teachers do is they do nouns for a week and they do adjectives for a week and they do verbs for a week. And man, it gets really boring because the kids are never making anything. So what I'll do is I'll put this on my TV or my overhead. I walk the kids through all 8 parts of speech, and then their job to wrap it up is to write a paragraph using all of those parts. And that's why it's called 8 parts. But I can say, the boss boy was eating his juicy watermelon. And you can see how it guides kids through to better writing. And so I will use this activity, 8 parts, little parts. I started this, I'm not kidding, in the year 1999. Wow. And here we are, 26 years later, still works. And then you're with the younger guys. So look what I do with the Ben Cogswell and I came up with this younger version. And so we go like this: article a, article an, article the. All right. And then we do the same thing, boy. And then what's another noun? Fruit, because it has less letters than watermelon. And fingers, the boy's fingers. And then I do adjective, verb, adverb. And then we make the kids do every exclamation and question mark. So they're not just doing articles for a week and nouns for a week. They're doing all of them with the ending marks all at once. And then what we have the kids do on the first day is just go through and highlight their sentence and then pick their ending mark. So for the kids, it feels really light and achievable, but it's so simple. A boss boy is chewing the juicy watermelon, question mark. A boss boy is eating the juicy watermelon, exclamation. And then down here where it says 1 and 2, the kids can go through and they can go ahead and write some paragraphs, some sentences. And when I'm dealing with 2nd and 3rd graders, I'll tell them, dude, just write the same sentence twice, but change the ending, because I'm getting them to think about it. And look how much rich education is going on here, right? So I'm going to pause for a second and let you make any comments you might have.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that. No, I like it because you know, I do teach 2nd and 3rd grade, and this is what we do. And I can see how, just saying, a lot of times we teach this in isolation, like you said. And so when we're trying to put it together and make those sentences, it is more difficult. But I want to ask you something. So do you do all of this using tech? Could I just use this also, like print it off and use it as a template?
I could literally do it as an overhead projector. I don't even need a TV on paper. You know why? That's how I did it in 1999. Still works. Awesome. But here's where AI comes in. Have you heard of Snorkel? Because I'll bet you have.
I sure have. And they are sponsors for ASTE. So yes, we love Snorkel.
So now watch this. I'm going to share tab. Watch this though. Watch how it's evolved. In Snorkel, we've got all this stuff, right? And what's that? EduProtocols. Okay. And, I've never done that before. It made it disappear. That's cool. I didn't even know that worked that way. Look at that. 8 parts. And I can go Smart Start and try it as a student. Look at this. Same picture, right? Same picture. And now the difference is I can go like this. Boss. Booze. Boss, boy, fingers. I'm going to do the same activity here now, but watch the difference. When I hit record screen and voice, and I'm going to say boss, boy, and finger are my nouns. I can hit submit, and I'm as a student, I'm going to get immediate feedback, girl. It's the same thing that I used to do on paper. It works the same. And this is why I said, remember when I said the third thing is going to be pedagogy? Because the pedagogy behind this process works with chalk and a chalkboard or AI. And look at this. Look at this. I mean, if you guys haven't seen Snorkel before, look at this. Great start with your 3 downs. You found boss, boy, and finger. You still need to do the others. And don't forget to write your paragraph with at least 5 sentences. It gives you that feedback, and the teacher can see what's going on in real time. It's fantastic. But then I got a brand new one for you, Melody.
Okay.
And you've never seen this one before. This one's in a little thing called School AI. And so this one is a new one I made called Chop It Up. And your mission is to rescue a messy sentence by slicing it into correct sentences. So what's great about AI here as a teacher is School AI, all I did as the teacher was I typed in shoes and it made this run-on for me, Melody. Isn't that awesome? Mm-hmm. I don't need a worksheet. I can listen to it if I want it to read it to me.
Awesome. Here's your messy run-on sentence to rescue. I laced up my sneakers and grabbed the ball. Then I ran to the court and started dribbling fast. And my friend...
Okay, so now what all the kids have to do is this: copy, paste. Now what's the name of this activity? Chop it up. So let's start chopping. I got to put a capital I. I got to fix that. I laced up my sneakers and grabbed the ball. I'm going to stop it right there. Then I ran onto the court and started dribbling. And I'm going to put a semicolon here. I'm going to flex a little. Fast. And my friend, I started dribbling. Oh, yeah, that doesn't even make sense. I started dribbling fast. And I'm going to go exclamation mark there. Yeah. Hold on. All right. Okay, and then I'm going to delete and. I don't need it. My friend yelled, oh, here we go. There's my semicolon. My friend yelled, pass it to me. And I'm going to put another exclamation. And I'm going to put I. And so all I'm doing is revising, right? Mm-hmm. I took a shot and the ball went in and we cheered. I don't think I'm all the way right yet, but I'm going to hit send and I'm going to get AI feedback in real time. And look at that. Nice work. You nailed the punctuation and that semicolon was a nice touch. I noticed 2 things to polish though. The letter I needs to be capitalized and the last part's still a run-on. So look how it's leveling it for me. I just have to break this one part into 2 separate sentences. I took a shot. I'm going to go like this. I took a shot. I'm going to capitalize T. The ball went in and we cheered. I'm going to add a comma right there. Let's see how I did. But this is the power of AI, because in the old days, I would have needed a book full of run-on sentences, or I would have needed to make all of these run-on sentences. And then I would have ended up with a thing that the kids would have gotten grades on later instead of right now. So now it's like a game. So it says, I'm still missing one piece. Look at your sentence. Where could you swap a comma for another one? So it's really cool. Plus, it'll do it in different languages. So let's say I speak Spanish. Boom, I'm going to switch that whole thing over to Spanish and I'm good to go. So I really, really like this new, world of AI, because I don't need a boring old workbook. I don't need a bunch of worksheets. And the kids are getting immediate feedback. It's so different and better. And so hopefully that resonates. What do you think of that so far of Chop It Up?
I like it. And honestly, I would probably wear like a apron, or, is it apron? Yes. And a chef's hat and maybe,
and play it up.
Yeah. Play it up. And also just because I still am trying to teach my 2nd and 3rd graders like great penmanship, I feel like I could take that and put it like on a cutting board and, just silly things like that, or a plate, and just really have fun with it. I like it. I just like it, number one, also because using, whether it's Snorkel or School AI, which I also love, Oh gosh, where was I going with that? I love the accessibility. I love the fact that you can put it in a different language. One of my students was doing that yesterday in a game that we were playing for review because we're getting ready to take our STAR test pretty soon. And the way that she was able to put it in her home language, I mean, I love that.
It's fantastic.
Every
you
kid
cannot
should
do
feel-
that on paper. I don't care who you are.
Right.
It's impossible. And that's where I'm going to start shifting our conversation over to pedagogy now, because
I love it.
the number one thing that makes me frustrated with teachers who want to get rid of tech, and I'll get into the reasons why they want to get rid of it, but let's talk about the reasons not to. Equity. How is a teacher going to convert either maybe Native American languages or Spanish? How are they going to help those kids? So it's one thing to say, let's get rid of the tech because it'll make my life easier. But how does that look and feel for underrepresented populations?
Right.
I'm going to show you one more thing, though, that launches us into the pedagogy. And I think you'll like this, Melody. So look at this right here, because you said handwriting practice. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, as a boy person with pretty bad handwriting, this is what I normally get. Correct? I would encourage you to try something different. Ready? Look at what I'm going to click on now. Let me see if I can make this one bigger. Look at this. Where is it? Oh, no, that one won't blow up. Hold on a second here. Let me find one that'll get big. I had my sixth graders back in 2002 or 3. And again, their handwriting practice was horrible then. Look how I had them doing handwriting practice. And that's where my art background comes into play, because when I watched the kids handwrite, I realized it wasn't that they don't know the shape of the letters, like this one. They knew the shape of the letters. What they needed was the muscle control. And so when the kids were trying to do this, it was coming out so badly that they got mad and frustrated and they didn't want to practice. When I switched, and if you look, just Google the phrase handwriting practice, there's tons of these. Look at the difference here. Because what I realized is handwriting is really two things. One is, do I know the shape of the letter? Most kids do. The second part is, can I make my hand do that? Right. And so it was so fantastic when I found these, and bear in mind, for the younger people, this is before there was a YouTube or a Google. So I had to figure this out on my own. I'm going to see if I can find another example. But it's just a good example of where boy people spend a lot of time in school doing stuff that doesn't feel that exciting or invigorating to them. Oh yeah, look at this series, Melody. Look, we're just going to practice making wavy lines with precision. That's all we're going to do. Because once my hand can go where I want it to, look at, and they get fancier and fancier. Once I have the fine motor skill to make my hand do what I want, I can draw anything. And we're focusing on making kids draw 26 shapes. But what if we could teach them to draw anything? That's even more powerful. So talking pedagogy. So I'm really, I've been a tech guy for a long time. I had a Palm Pilot one-to-one classroom. I don't even know if you knew that.
I didn't.
At one of my districts I worked at in 1996, they got rid of all the Macs and went PC. So guess what I did? I took my little pickup over to the boneyard at the district office, and I grabbed myself about 20 Macs, and I hooked them all together so my kids could email each other. We didn't have the internet in the classroom. We were literally just emailing back and forth, okay? But I saw the magic of the engagement, especially talking about handwriting. The boys weren't getting a lesser grade because of the way their handwriting worked or looked. And so here's what I'm worried about in education right now. If you go on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you're going to see tons of teachers saying, tech failed. Tech didn't work. We need to get rid of it. And I think there's some problems with that mentality. The first one is equity.
Right.
But the second one is, so what you're saying is You want to go back to a paper-only classroom so that it'll be easy to control the kids.
Right.
That's not tech's fault.
Right.
So the teachers say, well, they're off task. Well, remember what I started with, which was what? I run at a faster tempo and I have a clearer outcome for kids so they don't get off task. And I'm telling you, like I said, I've been in 1,000 classrooms in the last 4.5, 5 years. I have never, let me reframe never. Maybe 0.5% of kids are off task.
Yeah.
I have no leverage on them. I can't bench them. I can't yell at them. I can't write them. I've got no leverage. I'm literally operating with no backup plan other than what? This is going to be fun. You're going to get a good score. Using technology with tools like GMKit or BlueKit now and Wayground just did some cool changes I'm super stoked about. I can easily get a whole class of 6th graders through 100 Latin roots in 2 weeks, girl.
I love
That's
that.
impossible on paper.
That's right.
That is impossible on paper. And so I want to put out a call to any teachers that might be listening to rethink how you're using technology. Here's another great little anecdote for you. I visited a class. They were using a tool. I'm not going to say the name. It wasn't iReady or iExcel, but it was in that same genre. And literally, Melody, the teacher was standing there watching, and the kids were doing this. They would read the screen. They would sit there for 30 or 40 seconds, and then they would hit B. And then they would go talk to their friend, come back to their desk, 30 or 40 seconds, and hit C. And then literally get up and walk and talk to another friend. So I said to the teacher, I go, bro, where's your dashboard? He goes, what do you mean? And I go, how do you know what they're doing? And he goes, well, the district sends me reports once a quarter. And I said, how are they doing? And he goes, well, not that good. And I go, well, let's just look at their body language. Is their body language saying that they're interested in this? And he goes, no. And I go, okay, so we got into the dashboard and we found a place where you could see how many questions the students had answered. And let's just say it said 7458. They had done about 7,400 questions so far that year. And I said, project that on the screen, put that on the screen. So we put it on the screen and I go, hey, everybody, look up on the screen. And they go, yeah, what's up? And I go, and these are 4th graders. Right? These are not 8th graders, high school kids, whatever. I go, that's how many problems you guys have done this year so far. And they went, ooh, that's a lot. And I go, well, here's the deal. When you hit 8,000, I'm going to buy you guys a pizza party. And they said, how can you buy us a pizza party? You don't work here. I said, bro, I will Venmo your teacher $60 and he's going to buy you pizza, real pizza, as soon as you hit 8,000. You know what happened, Melody?
Next
I saw
week.
30 heads. No. I saw 30 heads go like this.
Yeah.
They were done in 14 minutes. They did almost 500 problems in 14 minutes.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy cool.
That is not a tech problem. That is a pedagogy problem.
Agreed.
And so I'm going to speak freely because I don't live that close to Alaska, but I believe that teachers are frustrated because kids are off task.
Yeah, always.
I think they are.
Yeah.
I believe teachers are seeing a lack of achievement when they're reading on technology. I believe that too. I believe teachers feel like programs like iReady in some cases, some others, maybe are not living up to what the salespeople are saying. I believe all those things could be true. I'm old enough that when I started teaching, there were teachers that said, I'm going to retire before I have to use email.
What? I hate that so much.
And I believe there's a group of teachers
do we still have those teachers, you think, even after COVID? We still have a group of teachers like that?
Oh, yes. I know teachers. I know teachers that their tech skills are lacking to the point where they literally only have one tab open. So when I say check your email, they have to type in the email address and log in. And then when I say go to GimKit, they work in the same tab. So, and I'm not saying that to point fingers. I'm just saying that's the state of things. But here's the problem that really scares me. I believe there are a bunch of teachers who think, hey, if we can get rid of these devices,
right,
I won't have to learn AI.
That, and I won't have to deal with any of the problems that come with it. And it's about control.
And then they will say that no more cheating, no more logging in problems, no more games.
Right.
Yeah. But you're going to end up with a classroom that looks like this, bro. Blank paper.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't taught in a classroom where paper is the only choice, I would suggest you be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Because I went through elementary school in the 70s, and I will tell you a couple of things. We cheated on our homework. We looked at you, but we didn't listen to you. We did not read the books. And our pockets were full of lizards, marbles, jacks, pogs. We made white glue skin. Remember that? Let the white glue. I had a friend who could make a white glue glove on his whole arm. And here's what I worry about, Melody. We're not going after the problem, which is pedagogy.
Agreed.
Which means if you're a teacher who's not very good on tech, but you've only taught on tech for your whole career, and you think that your district's going to stop doing professional development because you take computers away, you are wrong. Yeah. Because they're going to give you more professional development on how to use paper. And it's going to be not that fun. And then once a year, your kids are going to show up to do state testing, having never used a keyboard all year. How do you think that's going to go? That's not going to be pretty. So what I'm calling for, and I realized I may have touched a few nerves with some of my reality, but the reality of it is we teachers have to solve the problem ourselves. The publishers aren't going to do it. Big tech's not going to do it. Our principals, love them or hate them, they're not going to do it. Our district office does not have the skills. How do I know this, Melody? I've been in classrooms all over America. Nobody believes their district office is going to help. Nobody. Right. And that's why organizations like ASTE are so important, because it's teachers building teachers' skills in a way that's fun and social. You cannot have a person just show up for one day, throw everybody in the cafeteria for an hour, and change your pedagogy. It's different than that.
For sure. And I think something that we just need to recognize too, that neither you nor I we're not pushing 100% technology in the classroom. And we talk about this a lot in your community, that tech being used as a babysitter is never a good idea as well. And just from experience, you have to have a change up. You have to have, you have to have, like, I remember I love Nearpod, and I remember teaching 7th grade, and I used Nearpod too much, and my students were like, you know what, we don't want to do this. And I'm like, okay. And you have to respect when your students give you feedback as well, because they are the people that you are trying to help grow. So if you don't listen to
they have a voice. They have a voice.
And that's
guess what? When I was teaching during COVID, my kids were doing origami for math. We built rockets, with cardboard and tape and glue. And it does. What I'm always afraid of when people talk tech is they think in terms of like, it's going to be a robo classroom where I just sling out assignments and kids happily do them.
Yeah. And it's not even always just the tech. They may not even like the tech, like you were talking about the teacher where they were doing all those questions and they were so bored. I mean, and remember that article we talked about, like how these experts are like, we should stop gamifying. Like, listen.
First things first, nobody is doing gamification that I've seen.
Oh, yeah?
I want you to visualize. I've been in 4 countries and 8 states, 1,000 classrooms. Do you know how many classrooms out of that 1,000 I've walked into and said, look at all this gamification?
Wow. Okay.
Not one. So I can make some inferences from that. We are not having an outbreak of gamification. There's another group of people who I love, but they are not reading the room. And these are the people that say things that sound like this. Well, John, everything's not fast. Sometimes you just have to sit around and think. And the variation of that is kids need to be bored. It's healthy. And I don't disagree, except for one problem. If my kids can't read or do math, I don't have time for them to be bored. Their parents can make them bored. Their grandparents can make them bored. If I have a football team that can't catch passes, we are not going to be bored so that we're mentally tougher. We're going to catch more passes. So the other way I put it too is, and luckily you're safe from a lot of long division in your grade level, but if you've ever watched a student struggle to write a paragraph over a half an hour or 45 minutes, or try long division and it takes them 15 minutes to do one, here's the problem with that. They're never entering a flow state. And that means every time that long division comes up, it is painful. Every time they have to write a paragraph, it is painful. So there is an element of speed, which is not about being frenetic. It's not about being hyper. It's not about go, go, go. But there's a natural pace. And I would argue if you can't write a paragraph in under 7 or 8 minutes, that means you're not very good at it. If you can't write a paragraph or do a long division problem in 2 or 3 minutes, you're not very good at it. So that's where the repetitions come in, right? And teachers don't think that way. They think, I'm going to give these kids 20 problems and it'll be great. But kids like yours might only do 10, and they're huge, laborious problems, and then they never get a grade or they get a bad grade. Just be a person that is in a situation where you're asked to do a task you cannot do for 6 hours a day, and tomorrow will be more of the same. So what I do and what the EduProtocols mindset is start so easy they can't screw it up, and then add a thing, and then add a thing, and then add a thing. I was working with some 3rd and 4th graders in a combo class, Melody, you'd love this. I had them all up at the whiteboards. They were all standing up, building thinking classroom style. Everybody's at the board. And I had 3rd graders paired with 4th graders. And I gave them 22 times 22. And they busted it right out. And then I gave them 44 times 44. And they worked on it. They busted that out. And I said, okay, here we go. It doesn't get any harder than this. 99 times 99. And they all did it, and they did a great job, right? Then I did this. Okay, you guys, next problem. And I did 22 times 22, but I put in a decimal. And Melody, you'd have loved it. They lost their minds. What's the dot? What's the dot? They were running around. What's the dot mean? What do we do with the dot? And I go, hold. I took my finger and I erased the dot. And I said, just go ahead and do the problem. And then when you're done, raise your hand. And I put the dot back. And I said, you guys, are we going to let the dot just fall down? Or do we need to know how many places? And just like that, we had done decimal multiplication. And the teacher said, but John, we don't do decimals in 4th grade. And I said, well, we do now. It's not really that hard. And everybody felt like they were smart and happy, and they wanted to do another one because they felt success. And that's why I wanted to talk about pedagogy.
Yeah. I just want to say, like, that's, you just kind of nailed it exactly. Like, kids are not wanting to come to school to just feel like they're losing at everything, and finding a way to make what we're doing fun is important, not just because it's fun, but because we want kids to have that, they want to be part of it. They want to learn. They want
and
to
there's a whole other group of teachers that'll say, hey, Melody, John, it's not my job to entertain the kids.
Right.
Well, I saw this great science teacher, Mrs. B Science, on TikTok, and you know what she said? Engagement doesn't mean entertainment.
Right.
Engagement doesn't mean don't commingle those. Engagement means kids are feeling success and they want to work more.
Yeah.
And just to kind of maybe bring this to a close, because I think we're doing pretty good on time. I saw a great Instagram post the other day that said teachers are complaining that kids are just mindlessly consuming content in class. Again,
Right.
I'm not going to mention brands, but you know what I'm talking about, right? So what's the difference with them sitting quietly looking at you while they're thinking about building Legos? They're still mindlessly consuming content. Nothing has changed. And what we try to do with protocols is get kids building things, working on things, designing things, explaining things, telling their friends about things. And that's why EduProtocols will be fine, whether you want to be all AI, no AI, or paper. The pedagogy is what drives the whole thing. And part of that pedagogy is starting in small bites that the kids can absorb quickly, giving them feedback in a very much Mrs. Doubtfire, Mary Poppins kind of vibe. And you saw that in Snorkel. Oh my God, Whit, this is fantastic. Can you do the other 3, please?
Right.
And getting that feedback going without being judgmental or off-putting for the kids. And then guess what happens? They go like this. The bell rings and they're like, are we done? Are we done? That's it? Because they were in a flow state and the clock was unwinding and they're having a good time and they're learning. And probably the scariest, cool part is kids know if they're getting better.
Yeah.
They know.
And they know both. Yeah. And they
know they're getting better. And when they're getting better, oh my gosh, they are a train. They're like, give me 4, give me 5. I can do 100 of these, Corippo. And that's where I want to get the kids, because once I've got that confidence, that joy of learning, that interaction piece, I can do anything I want. I will literally walk in and go, you guys, I've never done this before. They're like, well, let's go. We got this. And that's why I think in the conversation about tech or no tech, this would be a great closer right here. In the conversation about tech or no tech, we are not talking about pedagogy enough.
Right. I love that. Yeah. And if you don't have John's energy, I mean, I am a great teacher, but I don't even know if I have John's energy. I would just suggest looking up the EduProtocols, because that's a good place to start. And, whether you have like the energy of, a 20-year-old or not, it's fun. And I think that learning should be fun. I want my kids to have fun in class. And like you said, I want them to feel like they're building. And honestly, I've got great attendance, like kids want to come to my class. And
you know what my first principal said, Melody? Kids vote with their feet.
Yeah, they sure
And if
do.
you have great attendance, it says a lot.
Yeah.
And I think during COVID, my attendance was like 98%. If you ever had an excuse to not go to school physically, it was COVID. And my kids came to school. You know why? They were getting better. They had a good day. And I want to throw out one other thing too. You've said fun a couple of times. I saw a great speaker from Stanford, and she talked about the 4 different kind of funs. And one of the fun is just being a spaz. The kids are spazzy. They like to call it like a sugar high or whatever. And there's a couple of other kind of fun, but my favorite kind of fun that the Stanford person described, hard fun. And when you and I say fun, we're talking about hard fun, as in running a 10K. It's not fun while you're doing it, but it is fun when you're having a beer thinking about it afterwards, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to classify. When we're talking about fun, we're not talking about just gee whiz fun. We're talking about learning fun. We're talking about working. And again, I referenced the Latin roots. I've had kids get a class average of 94% on the Latin roots final, and then beg me to do the final again so that they could raise their score. In a classroom where the kids are detached from learning, that sounds like blasphemy. And I'm going to tell you right now, like you do your times tables with kids, if you do that in 99 math and you coach them properly, they will happily do one more round to raise their score. And that's the one that I call hard fun.
Yeah.
Their fingers are twitching, they're sweating, their eyebrows are down, and when the game ends, they go like this. Woo! Oh yeah, that was a good round. That was a good round. That's what I want my class to feel like. And so I think you guys, anybody that's listening, pedagogy. It's not devices or non-devices. Although I will tell you, if you're in a district where you give up your devices, you will rue the day, because getting those devices back will be nearly impossible.
I just want to throw this out there. Like, if we don't have a good balance of tech, how are we preparing our kids for like the rest of their lives? I mean, there's so much tech. And honestly, I don't want my kids to be bored in class. That's when classroom management, if you don't have any, like, that's where kids start acting up because they are so bored. But I just want to say,
how can you look a kid in the face and say, when you graduate, you won't know how to do anything with AI?
Really? And regardless of how smart you are, if you cannot use that for real world stuff that we are doing every day, your kids are going to miss out on a ton of careers that they're going to have to catch up on that their peers already know. I mean, I was doing social media for a company. That was not a job in 1999 when I graduated from high school. That was not a job that I could see that was even going to be a thing. It's like we have to prepare our kids. And I think with you, just such a balance, you have to have a good balance. You have to listen to your kids and make learning fun. And I love what you said about hard fun. We're not pushing like all tech. We're just pushing, don't, throw it out. What is that? Throw it out with the bathwater, the baby out with the bathwater.
Throw out the baby with the bathwater. Yep.
Don't be doing that.
But like I said, if you're a teacher that thinks you might want to go back to zero tech, because I have friends that want to, I really want you to think of how are you helping that kid if they leave your classroom not knowing how to screenshot, not having keyboard skills, never having used a spreadsheet, unable to, it's mind-boggling to me that would be a choice.
Right. Okay. Well, before we go off, are offline.
I think we kind of went off already.
We did, but really quick, tell us about your first ASTE experience, because I really hope you'll get to come back.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to tell you, I've been to a lot of conferences. Like the list of conferences I've not been to is shorter than the conferences I have been to. Like the only really big one I haven't been to yet is FETC down in Florida.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
And I haven't been to NICEGate, but McCall, Q, TCEA, MassQ. I've been to most of the biggies. And what I loved about ASTE was just that everything, and partially this is weather, it's all in one room. I mean, like one building. Mm-hmm. And what's cool about that is you see people in the hallways and you eat lunch together, you eat dinner together, you have snacks together. And so I just loved how like cozy it was. And I'm not making an Alaska joke there. It was a very cozy thing in terms of people being in close proximity and interacting at a very high level. It was just one of my favorite ever experiences. And I'm hoping I'm coming back next year because I loved every minute of it.
Me too. And the reason I love that you said cozy, because educators who come to ASTE are from all over the state. And this is where we see each other like for the, one time a year. I'm so glad that you came. When I got to experience your sessions, and I know this is how you were in the classroom as well. People were standing, they were doing. And I think that's the best thing. Our kids should be doing. And when they are doing and they are in that, they're engaged, they're not going to be causing a lot of trouble. And you were putting into practice everything that you were teaching. So that's why I think that Rob, when he shared, he loved it, put it into his classroom. They love it. It's just, that's why you need to come back.
And Rob was what I would consider a modern teacher because he immediately started connecting, like asking questions. I think he went to like 4 or 5 of our sessions.
Yeah,
he did. But he was seeing this whole new group he could join, a new mindset he could join. And I would love to see what Rob 2.0 looks like next year.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. Okay, just before we go, everybody make sure that you check out the EduProtocols sampler. You can find all of these webinars, including this one, on our YouTube channel. And also, Anthony White, our board president, he sent you a survey that we would love for you to fill out if you went to ASTE so that we could have your feedback. Thank you so much for that. It's been a pleasure, John. I'm so glad. I hope that you'll come back and just talk with us again. And yeah, if you are watching, whether you're watching now or watching afterwards, and you have any questions, please, please, please feel, reach out to us. It's very easy to get a hold of John. If you're not sure, you can email director@aste.org and I will get you in touch with John. John will come out to your school, even in Alaska. John, what are the 2 middle schools that you go to?
In Teeland Middle.
Awesome.
And we've been up there a couple times and they're getting fantastic results.
Awesome. And so he'll come out to your school, guys. It's like he will come to Alaska. Just great. Thank you so much, John. We appreciate you. Everybody, we'll see you next time. Have a good one.
Thanks for the invite.